Thulas, good evening. There's, of course, been strong calls ahead of tonight for Johann Rupert to recuse himself from this conversation and not be interviewed by Given Mkhari, given the allegations that we've had against Mr. Mkhari around domestic abuse of his wife at home. There were threats of a total shutdown. That doesn't seem to be the case if what's happening behind you is anything to go by.
Not at all, Kathy. There have been no protests at the venue where we are. And as you come to us, you rightly point out, people have been streaming into the venue. And you mentioned Given Mkhari and his wife, Ipeleng. They did arrive here about an hour ago, looking very relaxed, walking together, and basically stopped for a media opportunity to just basically talk about their expectations of this evening. And basically, they start there, in fact, on the issue that led to those calls by the total shutdown movement and the Soul City Institute, among others, for Johann Rupert to not grace this occasion. I did put the question to Given Mkhari and Ipeleng about, the incident that took place at their home and the calls that have been made by these organizations. And Given Mkhari is the one who responded to my question, basically saying that we are people who laugh, who cry, who have ups and downs, just like the country does, and it's basically shifted the conversation to what his expectations are of tonight, and basically said that tonight will be also about having conversations that some people are uncomfortable with, and basically sort of throwing it back to that there's a certain degree of discomfort in raising questions to do with that incident that saw the couple laying charges of assault against one another. So he says it will be like that inside this venue, that there will be conversations that people are perhaps uncomfortable with, and saying that the thing that matters to them is really about their children, saying that coming here, they had just had a great farewell for one of their children, I think is what he said, and basically they look forward to this conversation, to which at the end of that answer, Ipeleng Mkhari then sort of affirming what Given was saying and saying, you're absolutely right, my love, and that was that in as far as that issue is concerned, but also going into the conversation, Kathy, Given Mkhari again emphasizing that it is not an interview, it is a conversation. Just like they said last year that it would be a conversation, it will be a conversation this year, and it will be as comfortable as a conversation should be, of course emphasizing that questions that sometimes are uncomfortable will be raised, and saying that at the end of the day it should be about creating understanding, a point that was of course also made by Ipeleng, Given Mkhari's wife, who dominated the earlier part of the media opportunity about what to expect tonight.
And, speaking of those expectations, Thulas, I remember following the conversation that was had last year with former President Thabo Mbeki, really mixed reaction on the kind of questions that were asked, and, also Mkhari himself coming under a lot of pressure for why he actually was the one to conduct that interview. Did he at all speak about the kind of feedback they received following last year's conversation, and, how things will be done differently this year?
Not tonight, Kathy. He didn't address that tonight. But you'll remember, subsequent to that conversation with former President Thabo Mbeki, he did do a few interviews where he was explaining, emphasizing the point that he also made tonight, that it is not an interview. The interview is left to journalists, professional journalists, to do. But this is a conversation that he says is about creating understanding. That he says, it's about issues that, whether we like it or not, confront us on a daily basis. And so he didn't go into, I did ask him about the tone, and he said the tone will be one of a conversation, and it should be as natural as a conversation can be. Ipeleng, his wife, in the earlier comments, saying that actually it's going to be such a conversation to the extent that before they came here, one of their children wrote to Given Mkhari and said, actually spoke to Given and said, when you get there, I look forward to seeing you have that conversation with that guy Rupert, and to which the couple then chuckled that, you know, at the end of the day, it really is about that guy, Rupert, and about having a conversation with him.
All right, Thulas, let's leave it there for tonight. Thualsizwe Simelane out covering that broadcast for us. And of